Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm the Gnarly Gnome, your favorite weekly happy hour, not a show. Welcome back, or if you're new, welcome to this thing. It is not a show, and the chat has already been pointing out things even before the show fired up. Chris points out, so I've started doing some AI artwork for the thumbnails for this show specifically, this not a show specifically. And he points out that the fun of AI sometimes is finding all of the wrong stuff with it. Like in this week's episode, the goat's microphone going straight into his beard. Yes, I do. And it's really like this week especially. There was probably like 5 or 6 different things that were really wrong with it. Like the goat that's sitting, I think this is the final artwork. I went through like 3 different ones and kind of picked the one I liked the most. And the goat, I should probably look, but I don't care that much. The goat that's sitting at the head of the table, like straight ahead, he when it first created the artwork, it was like a goat's head on a gnome's body. And I was like, well, that's a little weird. So I fixed that. The microphone cable that's going into his beard, there used to be like half of a microphone like next to him too. In the background, one of the signs it created the Weekly Pint sign, which I thought that was great, but then next to it created a sign it just said 16:9, which is the aspect ratio of the thumbnail. And I guess somehow in the prompt it picked up the 16:9 and decided it was something important that needed to be on the wall of this bar that they're hanging out in. It's fun little stuff just to see what it comes up with. It is definitely not replacing an actual person. However, for something like this is not a show, so we can create AI artwork, and I kind of love seeing what it comes up with each week. It's always interesting things. All right, so like I mentioned, it's not a show, it's a happy hour, and if you've ever been to a proper happy hour, you know that the huge point of the happy houring is drinking. We drink together. That's what we do. We drink and talk about what it is we're drinking. And so I need you guys, as you crack open a new beer or whatever you're drinking right now, to tell us what it is you are drinking. Let's see. And I have to go back a little bit since you guys have already been talking. Let's see. Marco's having Talk to Me Spruce from BC's. Julia's drinking a crowler of Third Eye's Eye Wide Open that she snagged from Higher Gravity. Josh is having a lemonade Castello. If I can go down a little rabbit hole with that is one of the ones that I have not tried yet from Castello that I really would like to try. My only downside is that it's 10 milligrams, I believe, which is not typically what I like out of my drinks. I like 5, but I could probably handle it. Elijah is enjoying a Nanstat German pills from Barrique. Yeah, that sounds like I would like that. Drinking Streetside Barrel-Aged Fraudulent Activity. That sounds good. I'm not drinking anything. I have nothing in front of me. I'm not drinking, and that's got to change because it's a happy hour. What kind of happy hour host would I be if I don't? Josh says, then drink half the can. No, that. I don't think it really actually, yes, it kind of works that way, but it doesn't work that way because the amount that I'm drinking still just has more THC in it per sip, if that makes any sense. It would be like taking a 10% beer and only drinking 8 ounces of it. It's still going to mess you up more than drinking a 16-ounce 5% lager. It's just the way it works. Chris says, I hear they're outlawing anything over 5 milligrams in Kentucky. It wouldn't surprise me, and I don't know that I'm opposed to that, but that's, again, my personal taste. All right. Okay. We got to do some schnapps. Got the empty schnapps glass, and we need to fill it with something. I did not make it to a store to buy new schnapps, so we are hitting the shelf, hitting the bar down here, and finding some schnapps that we know and love. And I've got a classic. I have not drank this in its pure form on this show. I don't believe. I've definitely had it before, and I've consumed this on Drinking with a Gnome. If you guys have not listened to any of those episodes, sometimes they're kind of fun. It is a podcast. Just look for Drinking with the Gnome wherever you get your podcasts. Let's fire up the drink cam. This drink cam is brought to you by Rumplemans. It's not brought to you by Rumplemans. It could be. If Rumplemans wants to sponsor the drink cam, let me know. Here, let's zoom in so you get all of the Rumple glory. This is probably one of the most classic peppermint schnapps that exists, a favorite of dive bar enthusiasts all over the world. When we did, Julia says, "Oh God, are you drinking Thunderlull?" No, even better. This is better than Thunderlull. This is a classic dive bar shot, and I think it's fine, but it is definitely not as good as the Voltage peppermint schnapps that we have here in town, in my opinion. But let's confirm that. Oh man, this is what happens when you have too many schnapps and you don't drink them often enough. You get crusties. All right, here we go. Rumplemans for all of the schnapps fans. Why is it that the only good, proper high-proof schnapps that we can find around here is all peppermint? What is wrong with us as drinkers? Let's look into this. So it says a peppermint schnapps. It is 100 proof. Wants me to drink responsibly. Where's the fun in that? I do like this bottle. Government warning. That's not anything exciting. Okay, let's. There is some stuff on the back of the bottle here. Let's see what it says. It says, I'll get you guys off the drink cam for a minute. It says, Rumplemans Peppermint Schnapps. It was inspired by centuries of tradition in crafting intensely flavored, high-proof spirits. This 100-proof schnapps delivers an extreme taste experience, both cooling and bracing. All right. Oh, and it tells me my serving size, 1.5 fluid ounces. I think I might have gone 2, but that's fine. You can have an extra little half a serving or a quarter of however much that is, an extra third of a serving. I can smell it. Okay. Oh, calories. It tells me that there's 17 servings per container. That's nice. Fluid ounces, 7. Is that okay? Alcohol by 50 fluid oil. 0.7 calorie. Nope. That's amount of alcohol in a serving, I guess. I don't know. I don't even understand that count. 164 calories? Could that be right? 164 calories in a shot of Rumplemans? What? 10.2 carbs. No fat, though. No protein. All right. Produced and bottled by Diageo. Shout out to Diageo and all of their current state of misery that they're going through. Okay. Obviously, it's clear. It just looks like water. It is just water in a little schnapps glass. Okay. Julia is mentioning that there is Malort at Higher Gravity Summit Park, yes. And Elijah says he needs to make his way to Summit Park then. Josh points out that the calories are probably from sugar, which is probably right. Or peppermints. Do you think they use actual peppermints when they make this? I hope so. All right. Let's get into this. To schnapps. Prost, everybody. It is so different than the Voltage. We already did this. We didn't do a blind, but on the Drinking with the Gnome episode that I was talking about, we did 3 different types of peppermint schnapps and kind of tasted them and figured out which was good and what wasn't good. And this one was in the middle. But it would be fun now. I've got those black tasting glasses that you can't see through. Not that you would be able to tell the difference looking at any of them. They all look the same. But to just kind of try to really do it blind and figure out what's good and what's not. And then throw something else in there that was not peppermint just to see if it really messed with you when you thought you were going to drink peppermint. All right. This smells a lot more like medicinal and boozy. Yeah, there's a little bit of like that rubbing alcohol kind of aroma to it, which is not great. And if I'm drinking peppermint schnapps, that's not what I want to smell. I want my glass to get up towards my face, and I want to feel like I am hurtling through the North Pole on the back of a sled of some jolly fat man. That's what I want from peppermint schnapps, and this doesn't really do that for me. But whatever. That's not its point, I guess. That's not the purpose of it. The people that want this want a little bit of pain, I think. All right. Cheers. Julia says that episode was right before a blizzard. Right. We'll get to that. Bottoms up. Oh, yeah. It hurts a little bit. Got that burn. Oh. It's not great. It's not bad. I think I say that about anything that I don't really love. It's not as good as Voltage. It just makes me want Voltage. Oh. That is certainly going to ruin my beer. Oh, man. Brought water in here, and it's all the way over there behind the drink cam. Hang on. Let me grab a palate cleanser here. Julia mentioned that was right before a blizzard, right? It was not before a blizzard. It was kind of during a blizzard. I was saddled up to the garage bar. For anybody who is a fan of shift beers, you've probably heard of the garage bar. And I knew it was going to snow, and we tried to time it so that we kind of be wrapping up right as the snow was supposed to start. And at one point, I think we had finished the show. We're just kind of sitting there drinking Thunder Lull. And Margo says it could have just had salty dicks. That's a good point. And we'll talk about dicks in a second. We finished up the show, and we're just kind of sitting around drinking schnapps. And my wife sends me a text or calls me or something, and she says, are you going to be leaving soon? And I said, yeah, in a few minutes. We're just kind of wrapping up. And she's like, have you looked outside? I said, no, I have not looked outside. And we took a peek outside, and it was like, again, going to that North Pole analogy, it was like the North Pole had collided with Ohio. And there was blowing snow, and the roads were covered, and all right, like it happens. So made the decision then. I could either hurriedly gather my schnapps and run out the door, or we could hang out and keep drinking in the middle of a blizzard. So we did that, and everything was fine. It was fine. All right, palate cleanser. The schnappening might not be sponsored by Rumpelmans, but this show is sponsored by somebody. You guys know them. You love them. They're stacked behind me. They're on my wall. They're in my heart. Dick's Potato Chips. Look, I love these guys. I tell you this every week. I've been telling you this every week, even before they were sponsoring the show. I love Dick's. I love Dick's. I am not afraid to admit that I love Dick's, and I think you should too. If you've never tried them, get out to your favorite dive bar, and hopefully they've got it. If they don't, tell them to bring it in. Get to Jungle Gyms, get to Party Source. All of these places are great places to get your dicks. Even better, you can go to the website. You can go to dickspotatochips.com, and you can order them right on there. You'll get a box of dicks right on your doorstep, and you can build a tree behind you too. Then when you need a palate cleanser, you can just reach for some salty dicks. It is a good palate cleanser. I usually go for the dicks after the show. I feel like crunching on the microphone will annoy me later. I only do that on other people's shows. No, it's a joke. If I'm eating dicks, it makes it really hard to carry on a conversation with you guys. I can barely drink during this show, let alone drink and eat a bag of potato chips. But they're great. 3 flavors right now. We have, as I mentioned, you look at the tree. We've got the salty dicks up at the top. We've got the hot and spicy dicks. That's the red bag. And then we've got the barbecue, the sweet and smoky, and it is so good. I still think the hot is my favorite. I love the hot dicks. We will talk about Bockfest a little bit here in a second, but I spent my Friday parade time with the folks at Dick's, and we'll talk about some of the reaction that I saw from the crowd when they were seeing Dick's all down the street. It was kind of wonderful. Julia says Dick's potato chips are the best. They are good people, good chips, local company. It's a great name. It's everything that I want out of my chips. So yeah, get out there and try them. Please try them if you have not. If the next time you see them in a bar, get them. By the way, I was. This is going to go down another rabbit hole. I was in Clifton the other night. I don't drink in Clifton that often, but on occasion I will find myself there and grab a beer. My favorite place to get a beer in Clifton right now is Murphy's. Murphy's has always been near the top of the list, but it is the top of the list for me right now. Although I don't go there that much. But I was in Murphy's the other night. I was wrapping up a fun little talk that I did at a couple nights of a couple different talks that I did at UC. And so afterwards, I'm going to go grab a beer, and I went to Murphy's. And I was sitting there the one night, and they have a bunch of free hot dogs. As long as you're sitting there drinking and paying, they've got a hot dog roller sitting right by the door, just cranking out hot dogs all night long. You know that is near and dear to my heart. Tubular meat makes my world tick. So got myself a couple hot dogs, and I'm like, man, that was really good. I could use something salty too. And I look up, and behind the bar, hanging on the wall, a whole tree of dicks. And I was like, hey, are those dicks behind the bar? And he's like, what? And he's like, oh, Dick's potato. Yeah. That Dick's potato chips. And I said, yep. I'm gonna need some salty dicks. And he said, I'll get you a salty dick. And he did. He went and got me a bag of dicks. And it was amazing, and it was perfect, and it adds to my night just exactly how it should. Yeah, get yourself some dicks. Julia says that Josh and she determined that a hot dog roller at a bar can double as a beer can roller for New England IPAs or sours that may have sediment, fruity pulps in them. Yes, if you like your beer hot. See, the hot dog roller also heats your hot dog. And I don't know if the roller part works if the heat is off. I don't know. I'm not putting any beers on my hot dog roller. I can tell you that. Get it to that European temperature. Yes, a nice balmy 95 degrees. I don't know. What temperature are they at? What temperature do you heat a hot dog to? I have no idea. I just leave them on the roller till they start to glisten. And I pull them off. Julia says we have the technology. I don't know that we do. I don't know that I have the technology. Can't you just take your can and just kind of do this? Doesn't that work too? Speaking of cans and dicks, I'm going to crack open a beer. I was going to make a video about this beer. I did make a video about this beer, but I wasn't super happy with everything that I did in the video. It sounds bad. It was not bad. I was going to re-record a couple things, and I only had 2 cans of it, so I drank the one already. This was the second one. I've been hanging on to it for 2 weeks, kind of to make this video, and I'm not going to make the video. I'm going to do it here instead, and I'm going to go back to my footage and see if I can make it happen. But this was a freebie. This was a sponsored, not really this is not sponsored. This was a freebie though. This showed up on my doorstep. So shout out to the folks at Dogfish Head. This is the Grateful Dead collaboration. I did not buy this. This was a gift from the folks at Dogfish. So thank you to them. They didn't ask me to make any content about it, but when people send me stuff, I'm way more likely to make content about it. Just a heads up for everybody. Grateful Dead, Juicy Pale Ale. Actually, let me pull up my my notes on this. There's a lot about this beer that I think is kind of fun. Actually, let me change that while I do this. This is Dogfish. There it is. I need to get another keyboard for in here. I have like all these wireless keyboards, and I need one that just lives here. Marco says, me and Sam are buddies. Yes. I have talked to Sam once. Okay. Oh, the description's good. There's a big description. Okay. A couple of the things that I noticed about this beer before we read the brewery description is that it is a pale ale brewed with kernza and granola. So this is like a full-on hippie beer in every sense of the word, which I guess if you're making a Grateful Dead beer, kind of makes a lot of sense. But if, Marco mentioned that me and Sam were buddies, the time that I talked to him, which was like a year ago, it was to talk about sustainability in brewing. And a big kind of piece of that is things like kernza, which is like some kind of a grass. It's a grain that you can use instead of malted barley. That does not want to focus on the can. That's funny. It is like I said, a sustainable grain. It's I think kind of like bamboo. I have no idea. I've never seen kernza in its raw form. But I thought that was interesting because I know that Sam Adams has a huge focus on sustainability and some of those other things that they can do. And of the Sam Adams family, which Dogfish is owned by Sam Adams, if anybody doesn't know that, Boston beer, I think the Dogfish side is almost even more hyper-focused in it than the rest of the company, I think. Elijah says, I saw Sam at Dogfish Head, but opted not to fanboy as he looked busy talking business. Our tour guide later told us that it was the head brewer that he was talking to, and Sam loves people coming up and saying hi. That was definitely the impression that I got from him, was that he is super, super, super personable and just still loves sitting around talking about beer. That's the same with Jim Cook. Jim Cook usually has people around him that kind of fend off people. I think because Jim Cook loves to talk about beer so much, he has to have somebody to keep him away, or else he'll get hung up, and he's got such a goofy schedule that he sometimes can't do that. But yeah, Sam was great, and I don't know how many stories I should go. One of the things that really struck me about him, before we even started recording or doing any of the interview that we were going to do, we talked a lot about Cincinnati beer and what I liked about it and what other places were doing. And he was asking, since we were talking about sustainability, he was talking about other breweries that were sustainable in town and what are they doing. And, he's naming off some of the big breweries that he's heard about. And he's like, how are they doing? And I'm like, well, it's, the places that are being sustainable are not the big ones in town as much. Not that they aren't being sustainable. With Rheingeist and Madrid have done plenty to, be sustainable. All right, we got to get to this. I'll go down too many rabbit holes with it otherwise. Too many rancid rabbit holes. All right, let me read their description here, and then I'll go through some of the notes. It says, "Behold, the ultimate collaboration." Let me actually pour it before I get to. It's like 3 paragraphs of text here. Behold, the ultimate collaboration of off-centeredness and musical exploration, Dogfish Head and Grateful Dead. As beer geeks with a music problem, we couldn't resist teaming back up with this legendary band to continue our long, strange trip together with a brand new beer, Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale. Clocking in at 5.3% ABV, this pale ale is brewed with kernza grains, and kernza is a registered trademark, granola, and heaps of good karma for a refreshing light body beer that will leave you with nothing left to do but smile, smile, smile. The addition of Eldorado and Azaka hops brings waves of tropical pineapple, mango, and passion fruit notes for a vibrant travesty of alluring aromas and flavors that just keeps trucking sip after refreshing sip. The good vibes keep rolling down to the ingredients. Kernza is a sustainable rock star of grain developed by the Land Institute, a Kansas nonprofit. We don't need to sit here and read all this, right? A nonprofit removes deep roots, removing carbon, traps it underground, perennial, so it stays in the soil, keeps growing, and protects the land from erosion. Yada da da da. Climate change is bad. We don't want that. That's in here. It also lends a unique nutty flavor to this juicy brew. Go on and grab a pint of this goodness. Take a melodious trip for your taste buds. All right, I don't have a pint. I only have 12 ounces. Sam's not going to be my friend anymore. Oh, I should have turned on the drink cam while I pour so you can see the beer, although it should be backlit probably if I'm trying to do it for beer. It's all right. It also should be in focus better. None of my cameras want to focus today. There, it'll like that better. Get some light on it. So it's by juicy. Clearly, they mean that it is also going to be hazy because that looks like somebody put pineapple juice in my beer. Not that I'm opposed to that. If you want to put pineapple juice in my beer, I'll still try it. I guess depending on what the beer is. Chris says my cameras are 5 beers deep. You know, always. Let's see if we can get a nice little cap on there. I always complain about how messed up my my desk is in here with all the stuff that's been spilled on it, and then I do stuff like that. All right. I did enjoy this beer a lot when I tried the other one. Julia says, or a few shots of schnapps deep. Speaking of shots, I did post a little teaser of a shot that may be coming up on a future episode. I showed it to my wife and asked if she would do it with me, and she said no. But that she would bring me water that night when I was laying in bed groaning afterwards. I still don't ever know where to put the can so you can see what I'm drinking while we are talking about it. Just hold it there. Oh, there. See, now it wants to focus. What in the world? All right. Out of the Dogfish head glass that I always know that I'm saving for a reason instead of getting rid of it, it's for times like this. Yeah, so off the top, I get a ton of, like they mentioned, kind of the tropical fruit. So I get definitely pineapple. I get some, maybe some mango. I'm always really bad at picking out specific tropical fruits. Like it all kind of, it's the same type of tropical to me. Like I'm not getting, maybe some melon. I'm like, when I'm smelling, this is a fun little thing. When I'm smelling a beer, and I'm especially a beer like this, kind of where I know I'm looking for a lot of fruity notes, I literally in my head am walking down the produce aisle. Like I picture myself at my grocery store where I shop, and we do a lot of sniffing of fruits while we're there. And I in my head, I'm walking down the aisle. And I'm smelling as I'm smelling the beer. And then, like, as I'm walking and I walk past in my head a certain fruit, it pops up. It just, like, it's like, oh, there it is. I smell it in here. And then I keep going. And then, boop, there's another one. And so that's literally in my head how I'm smelling a beer. My kids love it because when we're at the grocery store, like I Elijah says, got to go to Jungle Gyms and help build your tropical fruit lexicon. We do that when we're at the store. Like we're sniffing everything. And then a lot of times we'll just kind of grab random fruits and bring them home so that they can try them and stick their noses in them and taste them and see what they're all about. Because I think that's the hardest part about beer tasting is that to have a comparison for something you're smelling, you have to smell it a lot so that it like triggers that thing in your head. Otherwise, you're like, oh, that's familiar. And I don't know what it is. And like that's then you can't communicate it with anybody. Yeah, it's tropical. The last time I had this the other day when I had the other can, um, I didn't get a whole lot of the granola and the kind of nuttiness of the Kernza. I didn't get any of that until later in the beer. Like it had to warm up a bit, and then it just kind of all of a sudden, at a certain temperature, it just kind of popped and started. Or maybe once I kind of got past the fruitiness, it just kind of popped and then started being a huge piece of the beer. All right, let's get in here and see if it tastes like peppermint schnapps. Which is a chance. That is a chance. Good news, no schnapps. It's a good beer. I'm not getting a ton of the granola or nuttiness or any of that. I'm getting kind of a soft. It's not bitter. It is soft and juicy and fruity. Kind of like, it's not like big, bold, like slap you fruity flavors. Kind of like it's not a piece of juicy fruit gum. It's softer and a little bit. I don't like the word delicate, but it's kind of like a delicate fruitiness. Like it's just kind of it's soft, is I guess what best way to put it. It's a good soft pale ale. Which, if you had told me when I was first kind of getting into craft beer that Dogfish Head would make a pale ale that I would call soft, I would have told you were crazy. I would have told you that any craft brewery of that era would be making a soft pale ale. No, cheers, Rod. Rod is a fellow beer YouTuber, podcaster, drinker, just all around great guy. And he was live streaming earlier today, and I swung by for a little bit until my kids started raising hell around me to hang out and have a beer with him, because he was celebrating 10 years as a beer YouTuber, which is that's a really long time for a YouTube channel about beer. So hats off to Rod for that. We started this game kind of right around the same time, which was a very, very different time in craft beer here in the city. And to kind of watch how he's kind of kept growing his channel and kept evolving a little bit what he does, but sticking to what he does is wonderful to watch. I love it, and I always enjoy his content. If there is a beer that you've been curious about somebody else's thoughts about, he probably tried it on his channel. I don't know how many different videos are on there. I don't know if I can see that quickly. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. 2.9 thousand videos. That is a shit ton of videos. That is awesome. So like I said, and most of those, correct me if I'm wrong, most of those are tasting videos. Those are the ones that I watch more than anything else, is just the tasting videos, just your thoughts about a beer, and I love that. One of the things that I've always loved about craft beer, which is a big reason that I love this show, is this experience of sitting down and drinking with somebody. And I love, like, if I go to the store and I pick up a beer, a lot of times if I'm sitting down here drinking it, I will, as I'm sitting there sipping the beer, be looking on YouTube and looking for written reviews and things like that to consume while I'm consuming the beer. Yeah, so I love that. I love when I'm able to drink with you, even though you don't know you're drinking with me. Let me get back into this, see if I can find this granola. We are drinking, for anybody just tuning in, this is the Grateful Dead. That camera just does not want to focus on it. This is the Grateful Dead Dogfish Juicy Pale Ale collaboration beer. Again, shout out to Dogfish. It's also why we're drinking out of a nice branded glass. We're just branded up with everything. Shout out to Wooden Cask. They are, full disclosure, client. We got client. We've got show sponsor. We have beer senders. We got it all. We even have little Rheingeist Peak over here. Rheingeist sent me some cool free stuff lately. This is great. Rod says the majority are definitely beer reviews. Got some other great things upcoming and need to have you on as a guest so we can do a Cincinnati special. Absolutely. I'm always up to doing something. In fact, I may be reaching out for you. I was chatting with somebody this weekend during Bockfest. I ran into an old friend, and we were talking about a project that might be kind of fun that you might be a good part of. All right. I'm still not getting the granola. I know it comes out eventually, but I'm afraid I'm going to sit here and I'm going to drink the whole thing quick, and then it's not going to have time for the granola. All right, while we work on that, we should talk about Bockfest. Like I mentioned earlier, I marched in the parade with the folks from Dick's. If you aren't familiar with Dick's, shout out to Dick's Potato Chips. We love the guys at Dick's. We love everything about Dick's Potato Chips. I love them so much that when they said they were going to sponsor a float in the parade, it wasn't a float. They sponsor a spot in the parade. I told them that there is no way they could do that and not have me march with them in the parade. So here they are walking with their sign in the parade, and it says, "Like big sausage, get your hands on Dick's." And there's a QR code where you can go right to the website, which is dickspotatochips.com. But the parade itself, if you've never been to a Bockfest parade, you are missing, I'm going to say, half, maybe even more of the experience of Bockfest. I used to not go to the parade. I had been to it a couple times, and then was trying to not go to Bockfest all weekend, was trying to figure out one day to start going, and I started going on Saturdays. Saturdays were always the day that I went. I would stay there all day, don't get me wrong. We would get there early, we would do a tour with the Brewing Heritage Trail, and then we would hang out all day and kind of bounce around to a couple different places and experience all that there is. And I have come to the conclusion, and this is, you can write this down because I am definitely an expert on concluding things about Bockfest. I've come to the conclusion that to experience the best night of Bockfest, you have to, number one, and I don't always hit all of these things, but this is how you do. You know what? I'm gonna rephrase this. To experience Bockfest appropriately, in the best way you possibly can, there's a couple things that you need to do. Number one, you need to get to Arnold's before the parade. Even before Friday, they tap a bunch of Bock beer, and it's not the same Bock beer that you'll find around town. It is a different selection of Bock beer from all over the country and all over the world, like great Bock beers. You got to get there at some point before the parade. Even better if you get there right before the parade when it is so busy that you can barely find a way to get a beer. But that's also kind of miserable. So get there early before the parade. Get yourself some Bock beer at Arnold's. Arnold's is a critical component of what Bockfest is. So get there and celebrate that. Number two, you have to go to the parade. But I'm going to say that to properly experience the parade, you either need to be right by Arnold's, or you should probably head all the way up to OTR. Like I'm talking about right up by Rosedale and the Drinkery and Goodfellas and like all that little spot right there. You need to hang out right there. That is the most crowded spot. It's the rowdiest spot. It is the perfect place to experience the Bockfest parade and where you should stand. Number three, you need to stay on Friday night and hang out around OTR on Friday night. That is where you get the most people that are going to be dressed up, the most people that are going to be a little rowdy, people that are excited after the parade. It's incredible. The vibe on Friday night is by far the best vibe during Bockfest. But it's not the only vibe of Bockfest. Saturday during the day, there are so many different events that are happening around town between sausage queens and beer barons and goat calling, which we'll talk about. All of that is going on Saturday and are all incredible events. And part of the fun is trying to get to them because it's like going to a music festival where you're at stage C and all the way across the festival grounds is another stage, and your band is about to go on. You're like, I got to go all the way across here to get to see this other band. It's kind of like that. But that's part of the fun, is jumping on the streetcar, trying to move around town and trying to get to the spots to see the events that you want to see, or meet up with a friend that's like, oh, yeah, we're down here at the Logger House, and you're, oh, I'm at Northern Row. Like, all right, who's getting on the streetcar? Who's meeting where? Do we meet in the middle, or are you coming here? That's fun. So that's the experience of Saturday, is the events that are happening around town. And then Saturday night is obviously, it's good too. Sunday, though, which I typically don't go Sunday, but that's a mistake. You should, because it's a little more family-friendly. It's a little more low-key. It's a little quieter. It's a lot of people nursing hangovers. It's different, and I think it's a critical part of kind of the balance of Bockfest and easing your way out of an insane weekend. So you got to hit all of those things, and you don't have to hang out all day Sunday. Just get yourself some nice brunch and a couple beers and walk around, especially if the weather is nice, which it's not always. And I think that's the last component, the last piece of the Bockfest puzzle. Marco says the Michael Jackson of German dancing was there Sunday. I saw that. I wished I could have made it down, but my family's very patient, and that patience runs up eventually. Sunday was not going to be downtown again. But walking in the parade with Dix was great. Another kind of fun highlight that I wasn't sure what it was going to be, the Crybaby Goat Calling Contest. This was new for this year, and I know what everybody is going to say. I know the comments that I'm going to hear the next time I sit down with beers about somebody and they ask about Bockfest. Yes, Missing Link Festival does a Sasquatch calling competition, and this is a goat calling competition. And yes, there are some similarities to that. Chris says, I assume not the beer writer. No, he is dead. No, this is the real Michael Jackson of German dancing. Crybaby Goat Calling Contest was similar in the absurd fun of of a competition like this. I think I pulled a picture of just one of the shots of the reactions of the judges. I don't know how easily you can see their faces and the difference of the expressions on everybody's faces on here, but you get like a lot of, and I have a blog post coming later this, knock on wood, hopefully later this week, if I get a chance, that kind of dives into some of my Bockfest experiences. But it was like, you would look at the judges and you would have one judge that is just laughing and like thinking that this person is the funniest thing in the world. Then the next judge would just be completely confused at what this person was doing. And then the last one would just have this look of disgust, like, you don't even understand what a goat sounds like. It's like everybody had these very stark, different reactions to it. And I think that is, for me, that was half of the fun, is just watching their reactions to each person. And as the night went on, like the first couple people went, it was like, okay, you're doing a great goat call. And then you get people kind of getting a little more off the wall with it and kind of figuring out what the judges are looking for and what the audience is looking for. And then they're going harder with it. And Oh yeah, it got good. You've experienced things like this before, where as the competition kind of starts rolling, it just gets better and better and better. And that was 100% what we got to experience down at the Lager House. Julia says somehow that just embodies everything about Bockfest. Some people are 100% into it. Some people are confused by it. Some people 100% do not get it. Exactly. That is exactly it. And that is why this was a perfect new addition to Bockfest. I hope, I hope and pray that as the years keep going, more and more places start to figure out fun new things that they can add to Bockfest. This is, if there's anybody from any bars or breweries or restaurants or anything like that that are listening to this at now or at any point, don't be afraid to try something. Don't be afraid to try to make your own event on Bockfest weekend. Find something that gets people to come in there. And I will go as far as to say, and the Bockfest organizers will not agree with me, it doesn't even have to be a Bockfest event. If you're downtown, you better have some kind of an event that is happening during Bockfest. We're all down there. We're all down there. We're a little lit. We're dressed like goats, and we want to go drink some beer somewhere or something somewhere. You know what? Like I had a cocktail on Saturday. I went somewhere and I had a cocktail because I had a whole bunch of Bock beer, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit for an hour and have something that is not Bock. And I did, and I loved it. And that is part of what makes Bockfest what it is. So don't be afraid to try something. Don't be afraid to do something different and new. Oh, I'm fired up now. Oh, I love Bockfest. It is one of my favorite Cincinnati beer weekends that exists. You know I love Oktoberfest beer, but Bockfest, ooh. All right. Whew. Let me gather myself. Let's see if we can find some granola. All right. Yep, it's starting to come now. You get like a little bit of a nuttiness and like an earthiness almost. Yeah. All right. And so now the fruit kind of starts to shift for me in my mind from like hanging out on the beach and eating tropical fruit to like little pieces of fruit in like a trail mix. A little bit. Okay. Let's taste it and see if we can get any of the granola. Mm. Mm. I know it's not shocking. We know that Dogfish is a great brewery, but man, it's a good beer. Maybe what's shocking for me is I don't drink a lot of juicy pale ales or New England IPAs or hazy this or, none of that stuff. I shouldn't say none of it. It is not the beer that I typically go to. So when I try one and I enjoy it, it always catches me a little bit off guard. And it kind of hits me with this, like, this surprise that, like, man, you know what? Like, if I was at a bar or at a brewery and this beer was on tap, I would never order it. It would not, unless that was all they had. If this was the only craft beer on tap, I would order it. But if there was this and there were 3 other craft beers, I'm probably not ordering a juicy pale ale. It's just not my style. But depending on what those other beers were, this might be the one that I would enjoy the most because it's so good. And I don't know how I can almost force myself a little bit to kind of grow from that and knowing that. I don't know. It's hard when you go out to grab a beer somewhere, and say you go to a bar and you're going to grab some food and you're going to spend $25, $28 on a meal, even more as the price of things just keeps going. And then you want to have a couple drinks and 2 beers, you're lucky if that's going to be, $15. If you're spending that kind of money on something, you just like, you don't want to like go in there and like risk that you're going to order something and then just not enjoy it. And like, I'm not going to, like, if I go in and I order a beer and I take 4 sips and I'm like, yeah, it's not that great. I'm not going to like, I'm not going to send it back. It was my fault. I ordered a beer that I don't like. It's not, the beer is not faulty. I'm faulty. So like at a certain point, you don't want to like, you don't want to risk that as you're spending that kind of money. Julia says the Dogfish Head booth at Delhi on Tap had this. The dog is going nuts. I don't know what's happening upstairs. Had this. Can you guys hear him? See if he barks again. Oh, somebody's getting attacked. Okay. I think all is safe. I don't know why this happens, especially considering it is, 10:40? That was the boy yelling. He should not be awake at 10:40. But clearly he is. Dogfish Head booth at Delhi on Tap had this and their 30-minute low-cal IPA. I've never tried that one either. I went for the 30-minute instead since I just didn't want a juicy IPA. Juicy pale ale. But did want to see what the low-cal, low ABV options taste like these days. That's a good point. Like, it's... And maybe that's it, too. Like, if I'm out somewhere, maybe I won't order this because I'm looking for something that's pairing with what I'm eating, or I'm looking for some other experience. And so you miss out on stuff. And, like, I like when people make me drink things. Like, I like being forced I like being forced to try things that maybe I wouldn't try otherwise. That sounds fine on mine. Yeah, you usually can't hear it, and I usually want you guys to be able to hear it. Like, I am tempted. I've actually had an idea to run a microphone cable up this wall over here that you guys can't see, which leads to the top of the stairs. So the stairs are like right here on this side. Right to the top of the stairs. So there's a microphone up there so that when all of this chaos, because I can hear it happening above me, when it's all happening, I can just hit a button to turn that mic on, and you guys can hear the dog barking, the kids screaming, them attacking each other. Yeah, it'd be funny, especially for this show. A couple more notes about this, and I think it was probably in the description. This is not only to celebrate Dogfish Head's 30th anniversary as a brewery, it's also to celebrate Grateful Dead's 50th anniversary as a band, and to celebrate the 10th anniversary of their partnership with Record Store Day. It's like all of these fun little anniversaries all smashed into one beer. Yeah, I like it. I will finish that, but I want to drink one more thing before we wrap up the show, because that's what we do here, even though we're almost at an hour already. Jeez. Julia says the 30-minute to me was just slightly mighty rebranded. I actually think that that's probably true. I did try this already. If you are a Nomi and you tuned in for the episode where I was recording shorts with people, this was one that I drank on there. And if you've seen, the short has been published, so if you saw that, you know my thoughts about it. But it's just so good that I had to drink one on this show too. This is the new Sway collaboration beer with Molly Wellman and Mad Tree with her Cincinnati Gin. This stuff is amazing. It's brewed. Is this brewed? This is mixed, created. This is created for International Women's Day, which just happened. Was that this weekend, I believe? I have to look at a calendar. I think it was this weekend. It is Cincinnati Gin, which is made by Northern Row, and then grapefruit and rosemary and soda. And it's delicious. There's more yelling upstairs. No, that's the dog. That is the dog yelping. He must have gotten locked up in his cage. Was Dolly Parton last year? Yes. Julia says, I grabbed some of that sway last week. I really liked it. Very floral. Fits well Cincinnati gin. Yes, March 8th was International Women's Day. Was that Saturday? 8th? Yep, Saturday. I'm going to drink it straight out of the can because I don't have another glass. And I didn't finish this yet, so I can't put it in there. Although this mixed with that would probably be pretty good. Maybe we should do that. Let's do a little experiment. Let's rinse the peppermint schnapps out of here because there is nobody that needs that in their life. Make sure it's all clear. Oh, that's weird. Watered down peppermint schnapps. Yeah. That's not for me. All right. Let's try a little bit of this. Kind of like a scientist in a lot of ways. Without the science. And a little bit of that. Now we have a granola, Azaka hops. What else was there? Azaka and something else. I don't remember. And I don't see it in my notes. Gin, soda, rosemary, grapefruit. All right. Okay. Julia says, I miss the weekly cuvées, to be honest. I mean, I'm trying to keep everything kind of incorporated from time to time. It's almost way less floral and fruity than it was before. Just aroma-wise. I bet it tastes way different. All right, let's see. Ooh. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's actually great. Oh, man. It tones back a little bit of kind of the grapefruit and like that gin, juniper bite that I think a lot of people don't like. Marco says Idaho 7 maybe. No, I looked. It's El Dorado. It kind of makes it like a little more approachable. That's wild. Wow. Okay, so now I wonder if in the tap room at Mad Tree you could be like mixing some kind of seeing colors with this sway to kind of make its own thing. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of love that. I'm kind of like sad. This is how much I love that. I'm kind of sad that we don't see more people mixing beer and other things. Because it is such a fun way to kind of bring out new flavors in the beer and give you a new experience from a drink that you weren't going to get otherwise. It's fun. When I mentioned earlier that I did these couple talks at UC with one of the classes there, and one of the questions at the end of the talk, we obviously do like a little Q&A session, and one of the questions that somebody asked me in one of the classes was that they had read a bunch about people mixing spirits with their beer. You know, like I know the what do we call them? The Irish slammers is I think what we're supposed to call them now. That's one. Sake bombs, things like that where you are literally dropping a shot into your beer. One of the many ways to do it. A Boilermaker And they were asking, my thoughts on that and any thoughts and experiences I had about it. I didn't really have a whole lot to talk about with it. I think I might have told a couple stories about some things that I have mixed for good or bad, but I didn't have like a good reason that people should do it. This is a good reason people should do it. Also, in one of the classes, and I do not know the guy's name. I feel terrible for that, but one of the students there in the DAT program, I guess he makes gnomes that he puts around campus, which I think is just so much fun. And after class, he came up to me and he thanked me, and he's like, "Hey, I want to give you something," and he gave me this little guy right here, who is just amazing. This little 3D printed golden gnome. And he said that most of them he does are just white, so this is a very special one. And I could not be more honored to get a special little gnome. I love it. It's a golden gnome. Julia says, Chris and I talked a lot about mixing things tonight, mostly things to mix with Gettin' Twisted Pretzel Ale. What would you mix with Gettin' Twisted Pretzel Ale? Are we talking like booze that you would mix with it? I mean, straight up bourbon is probably pretty good with it. What else would I mix with? I'm looking at the bar to get ideas. Yeah, man, as far as a spirit that would mix with it, is there a mustard spirit? Because that would be good. Mustard spirit. Man, if you're going to be haunted by something, a mustard spirit would be great. Is there some kind of mustard schnapps? That sounds great. Does that exist? I'm literally right now going to Google mustard schnapps to see if that exists. This is one of those times that it exists. All right. Okay. There is Gabriel Boudier. Mustard liqueur. Oh, shit, you can buy it online. It's French. It is 19 pounds. I don't know what that... Can I get it shipped to the United States? Add to basket. Let's just see. Continue to secure checkout. I'm about to buy mustard. No, I'm not. I'm just checking. Country of delivery, change. To United States. Payment currency. Oh, I want to pay in USD. Oh, my. Okay. So, here we go. The bottle, I can get it in 18 to 20 working days. And that's, oh, wait, can I change that? Nope, that is the only delivery I have the option of. It is $21.17 for the bottle, which is, that's perfectly reasonable. I would totally buy that, except the delivery charge is $62.03, which makes my total $83.20 for a bottle of mustard liqueur. I'm not buying that unless I find like 30 other bottles that I can add to this order and just... No, that's a bad idea. We're going to get off that website. I need to find out if I can get that in the United States and get it to me, because that would be awesome. Okay. Let's see. Marco says a mini corn dog. That is not booze. Does not count. Josh says a chocolate liqueur. Yes, that would be good. Julia says everything. No, I guarantee not everything. Peppermint schnapps. I'm going to say no. Dark chocolate, white chocolate, peanut butter, mustard. Okay, the mustard, if we can actually get it. I think that is probably the best. All right. Let me kill some more of this, and then we'll wrap up. It's so good. It is so good. So I'm sure a lot of you noticed, no podcast this week, no podcast last week, but I have good reasons. I've been busy. This week, I was going to have it ready for today. Thought about doing it as a Cincy Brewcast, but it's not a Cincy Brewcast, so I decided not to. It didn't really fit into any of the baskets that I have. So it's going to be an episode of what I call The Froth, which I know some of you know what that is. Some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. If you are a Patreon supporter, there is a kind of a hidden podcast feed within that. And you can support by going to thegnarlygnome.com/support. I think, as far as I know, I can make the Froth available to everybody that's a Patreon supporter, free or paid. I'm pretty sure. If I can, I will make this episode available to everybody. So if you go over there to thegnarlygnome.com/support and you subscribe, there is somewhere within Patreon, I can't tell you where it is, but there's probably some like frequently asked questions or something where it'll help you. And you can get your own personalized podcast feed, and you can import that into your podcast player, and then anything I post to that feed, you'll get right to your player like normal. But that is the only place that this episode will go, and it is one of the, this is way more carbonated. That is the only place that this episode will go. It is one of the talks that I did with one of these classes at UC. I'll do a little intro and a little outro for it, and I think we'll be good. I need to go back and listen to the Q&A stuff and make sure there's nothing in there that I probably shouldn't put out. But I think we'll be okay. Let's see. Julia says, reminds me of the world's deadliest garden gift shop in the UK. They have a whole spirit line, but it doesn't ship to the US. Yeah, this one does. That's the frustration with this, is it does ship. Marco says, Julia, show me how to do that tomorrow, please. There should be, just when you log on to Patreon, there should be something on that page that says, get my podcast feed or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But that'll be fun. And I really, really, really want to do more exclusive stuff like that for Patreon. I really want to record more episodes of Drinking with the Gnome, which I had a great conversation with somebody the other day about a possible episode, and the conversation that we had was just wonderful. There's been a few of those lately. Molly Wellman, kind of going back to this, when we were down at Bockfest, we were after the goat calling competition. We hung out for a little bit and we're having a couple drinks, and I'm fascinated by this idea that, you know, I say we very loosely. I guess I shouldn't make the assumption for all of you. When we think of Cincinnati, we have accepted the fact that Cincinnati was built on beer, right? That's a thing that we've grown up knowing and a thing that we stand behind. And kind of the really strange truth about Cincinnati that people don't understand, and that I got lost in this conversation with Molly about, was that, yes, Cincinnati was built on beer, but if you shift the time just a little bit, Cincinnati was built on wine. And if you shift the time just a little bit somewhere else, Cincinnati was built on whiskey. And like you have like these different like really, really strong eras of what kind of built this city and the foundation of it. And a lot of it was these different drinks. And I really want to talk about that with her sometime. So maybe there'll be like, I don't know, there's probably going to be like 9 episodes of Molly at some point. Juliet says to Marco, I got you. Juliet says to Marco, I got you. Zach wants when it is for me or when it'll publish. Because I'm recording one this week. It should be up next week, but we'll see. I like to keep you guys guessing. That's why I encourage everybody to make sure that you are subscribed to this show, because this show publishes every week. I encourage you to subscribe to Drinking with the Gnome. That publishes sometimes. I encourage you to subscribe to Patreon, because things like the froth that I was just talking about will be up this week. So there's always new episodes and there's always new things. Even if the new thing is an episode I record for somebody else or with somebody else, there's always new content, YouTube videos, different podcasts. I think I should probably look at the number. I think last year I probably recorded, I don't know, 70-ish different podcasts. Not all for me. Although, well, I need to actually get the actual number. There's a lot of different podcasts. No, it's even higher than that. It's more than 70. It is probably about it's approaching 100, I would think, of different podcasts that I've recorded. So you gotta find all the places to subscribe, and then you get all the content. Julia says, I'll take all the Molly episodes. She's wonderful. Really one of my favorite people. Anytime I get to hang out with her, I will jump on that chance. Which is why I will not be hanging out with Marco and Julia tomorrow. I didn't tell them that this is why. It's because I'm hanging out with Molly. She's doing an event down in Kentucky where we're drinking old booze, and I'm going to go drink old booze. Sorry. This is new booze, and it's good. Anyways, more stuff coming soon. Always new stuff. I have a couple new short tasting videos that once I finish editing them, we'll get them up. I believe in addition to the podcast that I'm hoping will be up. I'm not going to say a day. It'll be this week. I really want to have it done tomorrow. I really want to stay up a little bit later tonight and record the intro and maybe even the outro for that, but I don't know, that's probably a bad idea. We'll see. But I'm going to have it done this week. And then I have, like I said, I'm recording an episode of the Brewcast later this week, so stay tuned for that early next week. I think I have a longer YouTube video that's almost done. I might need 2 more. Yeah. There's more stuff coming. Subscribe to everything. Zach says, I love the episode with you and Blake for Bockfest. Yeah, Blake's a great guy. We ran into him at Bockfest. Just found him. Found him in the sausage line. It wasn't. It was actually the beer line, but it was close to the sausage line, and the sausage line would be funnier. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you to probably, I don't know, my favorite potato chip company in the world. Thank you to Dick's. Dick's Potato Chips. Seriously, I cannot even say it enough. Thank you to Dick's. Go to dickspotatochips.com. Marco says, I bet if you asked Molly, she would rather hang out with Julia than me as well. I think she would like to hang out with everybody. Zach says, did you listen to his episode today with Bruce Guys? No, I have not listened to any podcasts today, but I will. I will definitely get to them. I don't listen to podcasts when I'm at home. I listen to them in the car, and I did not leave the house today. So I didn't get to listen to it. Actually, that's not true. I left the house, but for just briefly to take take my daughter to dance and to pick her up and go to the park. I went to the park in between, me and the boy. I did get a Ghidorah beer, though. So I did leave the house. That's not even true. But, yeah, go buy yourself some dicks. Everybody, Zach, yes, I will listen to all the podcasts. I'll make all the podcasts. In the meantime, go eat a bag of dicks. Seriously, the greatest stuff in the world. Go to the website, www.dickspotatochips.com. Zach says at the gas station. Is that to get Dick's chips at the gas station? What? I don't know what you're talking about. You can go all kinds of places or the website. Go to the website, dickspotatochips.com. It is, oh, look, congrats. 100 messages. Good job, guys. 100 messages. Yeah, so we'll be back next week. I appreciate all of you for hanging out with me on this show, for making this a show that can exist. Oh, that's why I left today, to get Dick's chips at the gas station. Gotcha. No, it was to dance and to play in the sun, man. We'll be back next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about whatever happens between now and then, and we'll drink something, maybe just to appease Julia, because I'm afraid of her and she'll hurt me if I don't do something fun. Maybe we'll do a cuvée. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a listener chosen cocktail. We haven't done that for a while. There's all kinds of fun stuff we could do. Maybe we'll do mystery beers. I'll bag up 2 beers, and you can pick which one. We'll figure something out. Thank you guys. We will be back. You can't get rid of me. We will keep recording podcasts every week. That's what we do. Just it's a different podcast. Sorry, wrong button. Different podcasts. There we go. Good Lord. Where's the producer? David! David! He hasn't been here for a long time. Jerk. All right. Thank you, guys. Happy Bockfest. Should have drank a Bock beer this weekend. I'll figure it out one of these days. I don't know. Should we do Patreon? Yeah, we'll do Patreon. Why not? If I can figure it out. What should we drink? What should we drink on the Patreon live after show? I don't know. Maybe I'll let you guys pick. Find an old beer.